Evening all. So here we are again. We're just having a catch up this evening, me and Bully Biscuit, Uncle Fester here. Yeah, thought I'd put a bit of swagger on for you. You know, put my mask on because I'll be talking to Bully and I might catch something through the airways. So I thought I'd better put it on. We're going to tier 2 here. So let's bring Bully Biscuit in. I haven't spoke to him all week, so I need to get him on and have a chat with him. Bully Biscuit, how are you, son? What are you laughing at, son? No need to take a piss back, is it?
You look like Marion Fellows.
Bully.
Marion Fellows MP. Oh my God.
What?
Oh my God. That is outrageous. Jesus Christ on a bike. Well, that's better. I recognise you now.
How are you, son?
Yeah. So, mate. Yeah, not so bad. Not so bad.
How's your week been?
Okay, not too bad.
No?
Not too bad, mate.
Any emails in this week? Any responses to your... So, what we had, but what responses we had? I
made a formal complaint against Baroness Stedman Scott
for
her biased article which she had in the Express the other day there.
Yeah.
They've came back basically saying, well, you know, they're the gatekeepers. They're going to write to her and tell her that I've made a complaint. But that's it.
Okay. So you didn't get anywhere, really?
Not really. But don't you worry, I'll keep trying. I mean, the thing is, you know, there's a code of conduct there, and they're just ignoring it. You know, say, oh, you're not. We can't. This doesn't fall into the this complaint doesn't fall into the category for the code of conduct. It's a load of shit. They make it so difficult for you to hold these people accountable.
I tell you what, I had something interesting sent to me in the week. Really got me stirred up to look at something. And you know the government is. Ooh, you sent me something as well. But the government, at the end of the day, it seems to be run by a lot of private sectors without people knowing. There's a lot of private sectors in there, man. I didn't realize how much private sectors are in there.
Well, that'll be the Tories privatising everything and getting backhanders and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm starting to believe, mate. You know, especially with this COVID now, which we got going on, and how many billions we seem to be spending. So the big thing I've found now is I'm going to show you this document I was sent. Actually, that's what I was going to show you, weren't I? And I believe you had it as well. But I was a bit shocked when I seen it.
Oh, is this the Serco thing?
The Serco one.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise how deep Serco were in the government, doing all the governmental contracts, and how much clout they had.
Serco is like a cancer.
But
they are everywhere, mate.
But I thought the caseworkers for CMS were actually government employed. But it seems like by reading this article, this press release, which, okay, on the 28th of September back in 2018, I think it was, this actually tells me the caseworkers who answer the phones to the actual any paying parent or the actual the receiving parent are caseworkers.
No, that there is Bolton, the Bolton office.
Yeah.
The Serco were dealing with clerical cases in Bolton.
Yeah.
But it does make you wonder if Serco has gone and got got in further with the CMS. Does make me
Well,
wonder.
it does when you think about they made the 38 million profit in 2018, 2019, and who's you? The Baroness.
Baroness Edmund Scott.
What did she write in the Express?
Oh, it was a totally biased article saying basically, during COVID that the absent parent is going to be hounded if they get found to be skipping payments and using the COVID thing as an excuse to not to pay. The words were they're going to be hunted down.
Well, here's a question for you, because that article actually said that lots of people weren't paying, and they were because of COVID-19 they were avoiding paying, even on collective pay and stuff like that. And I tell you what, Craigie boy, here's an interesting article for you, which the media and people haven't reported. The department reacted quickly to an onset of COVID-19 and the extraordinary increase in benefit claims that ensued. For example, by end of May 2020, we had received an additional 2.4 million universal credit claims. Inevitable, our focus was on paying these claims and providing swift financial support for those in need. In order to do this, we moved somewhere in the region of 10,000 staff, including fraud, compliance, and debt staff, to help processing claims. We also turned off some of our casual controls or checks that normally mitigate against risks of fraud and error.
Wow. So
a lot of people from CSA were taken out to CSA or CMS and put over to universal credit. Yeah. And like we said last week, hence why the system has failed.
And they're accusing people of evading paying child maintenance when they've probably lost a job.
Oh, and by the way, this document I've got is, just so everybody knows, is Department of Works and Pensions Annual Report on Accounts.
So that article really is, again, propaganda to label absent parents as deadbeats.
Yes, it's discriminating and alienating again, mate, so they can do what they need to do. Which
make the public think that all people who are with the CMS are deadbeats.
Yeah. And it seems to be the same routine they're doing all the time, and I'm starting to ask the questions in my head. My questions I'm asking in my head are, as Circle actually, because they're in a lot of departments, all right?
Mm.
Are they actually in deeper, and have we got a government who's actually being run by private organizations? Because I've always said the government is a corporate. It looks after corporate entities rather than the people. So that's where I am at the moment, Craigie boy.
Makes sense. And the thing is, how many, because of the reluctance of members of parliament or elected representatives, their reluctance to look into the issues of the child maintenance service, the child support agency, makes me wonder why they're so reluctant to actually look at it. Do they have financial interests in Serco?
Well,
do they have stocks and shares in Serco? Why are they so reluctant to refuse to look at this issue, even though there's blatant fraud and misconduct and malfeasance?
Well,
and people are taking their lives They're just refusing to look at it.
This question's got to be asked you, because I tell you what else I've come up with. Just doing my little look around to see what's going on. This is very interesting. We also embarked upon exercise to recruit people at an unprecedented scale and pace to support our response to COVID-19 pandemic. This included people that are on the waiting list, having been successful previous service delivering recruitment exercise across the UK, seeking employment through Job Centre. But the one I have highlighted, can you see it?
Let me put my gaps on there.
Engaged.
We've got an echo again.
Engaged
resource from Capita.
Capita
and Circle. Wow.
They seem to come up everywhere I'm looking at the moment, Craigie boy.
They do, don't they?
Yeah, it's a £1 billion organisation. And do you know who the CEO is?
He's a descendant of Winston Churchill, isn't he?
Yes, he is. 1929 he was formed, Circle. And they have fingers in everything, mate. I've seen a video today. I'll show it at the end. I don't know if you've seen it. Did you send it to me?
I think I did.
Yeah, that was very interesting. That was very interesting, actually, because it seems to be our government are now run by a private body, and that's why none of our complaints. Ooh, Circle. Do you know they're embedded in the in our justice system?
But you got right there, injustice. Injustice system.
Yeah. Okay, they're embedded in the justice and the injustice system.
Freudian slip there, mate.
I tell you, mate, it's unbelievable. They're in the court systems and in everything. So there's no wonder we're not getting answers to a lot of the questions we're asking. But I don't know. I'm a little bit thrown by it. This is another interesting one for you. And it's been going on for decades now. I think they called in one of Circle's annual report going back to 2002. Their annual report, they called it Thatcherism, and that's where they really got into the contracts with the governments. You know, very interesting reading their annual documents going back to 2002, because they leave this out. They say what they're going to do, mate. It's wide open, you know. But this is another one. Right, this is about child maintenance compliance arrears strategy 2017. This is a paper which was put together. All right, page 6. Remember page 6. We'll come back to that. So this is Department of Pensions and Works child maintenance compliance, December 2017. Purpose of the paper: child maintenance and new compliance arrears strategy methodology paper brings together the range of methodologies adopted to produce various statistics. All right, but this is a cracker. If I go back to page,
it's a cracker.
This is a cracker. Watch this now. This is a cracker. Right. It says Article 11 is up here somewhere. Within analysts, there are a small number of clerical CSA cases. This, for the purpose of consultation, they have been considered as part of the transit station case groups already on CMS. And this will include the debt over the relevant number 12 threshold group. So number 12, you go down to, you look at number 11, these are cases that are due to systemic issues couldn't be progressed on the computer system and were dealt with offline by our partners. Who do you think the partners are?
Circle. That's the clerical team at Bolton.
So, but hang on. How many departments, CSA departments, is it?
I don't know.
How many is there?
You've got a business unit there's about 6 of them. Business unit at Plymouth. You've got a business unit in was it in just outside of Birmingham. There's about 6 in all, 6, 7, 8. Falkirk, Long Benton, Washington, Newcastle.
Right. So
All over the place.
The child maintenance, all right?
Dudley's the word I was looking for, Dudley.
Right, okay. But the child maintenance, what's it called? System?
Child maintenance
Services, yeah. All right. But I'm going to ask you a question. What is the child maintenance group?
That is where you've got the CSA, CMS, and Child Maintenance Service.
Is that what a child maintenance group is?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's an interesting one.
Mm.
I tell you why. Everything I read on documentation now about child maintenance, well, most of it is, I'm just trying to find what I've just done with it. Child maintenance group, all right? Right, this is an interesting one for you, Craigie, which I'm going to show you now. I've lost you on my, I'll tell you what, I've lost you. Oh, there you are. I thought I lost you. Child maintenance group, mate, is an external organisation working for the Department of Works and Pensions in Great Britain. So, child maintenance group, which is a lot of reference made towards on the DWP and the government websites, is an external organisation working for the Department of Works and Pension.
So they're a private company, basically.
Yeah. Which is quite alarming, actually, especially when you think about Serco as a private company. All right. So they're an external organisation. Actually, let's go back to this, what I was going to show you now, because I was going to show you something else, which I tell you what, since I've been on this now, I've had my eyes on, Craig, and thank you very much to it. All right. Here it is. Child maintenance group sites. So you've got Accrington, CSA, Acton, Aylesbury, child maintenance group, Barnsley, Baslingdon, Belfast, Birkenhead, Bishop Auckland, Birmingham. There's a lot of people in Birmingham, mate, a lot of children being, Bagner Regis, Bolton, Serco. It's got Serco on there, look. Bradford. So, but at the end of the day, mate, child maintenance group, you can see they're using child maintenance group all the time in everything they write. All right. And look at all them offices.
Jesus.
Now you go job centres then. Oh, but they still come under, look. So they're still there, mate. Child support agency. They even in the job centre plus areas. Mate, that's 12 pages, yeah?
They're everywhere.
I've never, ever seen anything like it.
It's extraordinary.
And department's absolutely massive. But I would like to know how many organisations from Capita and Serco are involved with it. To be honest with you.
Be very interesting to see, wouldn't it?
It would be interesting, because can you remember when Serco Was it Serco? Ah, right. Yeah, track and trace. On this track and trace, Serco have messed up quite a lot. All right. And they've looked at their contracts quite a lot. But it's not the first time. Investors flee Serco's fraud cases, cast shadow over future. This was 2013. This is just one case I looked at.
Wow.
Serco's ended into explanation from FTA after ministers warned it could be stripped of all government contracts and made an investigation by the City of London police. Shareholders in the prison operator and prison transportation group made an escape yesterday after it was accused of fraud against the Ministry of Justice for the second time in 6 weeks. And then they get caught, mate, on this track and trace, fleecing hundreds of millions out of the government.
Wow.
So, you know, that's so these organisations need to be looked at, mate. Honestly,
unbelievable.
I just can't get my head around it, mate. To be honest with you,
they're taking our money. They're taking taxpayers' money.
You know, and look, they even engage in resources from Capital and Serco. So they engage in, and they've had cases against them. They've had cases where they let them down, but they're still working.
But why is the government still employing them? Why is the government still giving them contracts?
Because I think they're so big. And after the video I've seen today, all right, that guy has gone and done his research, because I've just gone and done my research, mate. And I'm telling you something now. Oh, mate. I take my hat off to the guy, because he's gone away, he's done his research, and everything he said in the video is 100%, mate.
Yeah.
But the only thing I don't know is the Crown. I don't know if the Crown are actually running Serco, because I think he says the Crown owns Serco. However, what you've got to understand is they have a Crown representative, but this is another question I started asking, because back in 2016, can you remember the secondary ticket market? To go to a concert, you couldn't get tickets. You had to go and buy them.
Yeah.
I looked into that, all right, and that's a monopoly. It's run by Live Nation. Live Nation are £1 billion organisation. Artists won't even. I got told, mate, by Fanfare Alliance when I sat with them, we don't bite the hand that feeds us. And Live Nation, mate, they've got so many gigs. They got facility management. They run the halls. They do the ticketing. They got the artists on contract. Mate, it's unbelievable how it's tied up. And this is what I think is going on here with Serco. There's a big monopoly, governmental contracts, Capita, Serco.
Crapita.
Yeah, but Craig, they're not looking after the interest of the people, of the nation. Hence why MPs ignore us.
That is what they're supposed to be doing. They are constitutionally obligated to take care of their constituents and the Constitution, not corporations.
Oh, definitely, and it does. It absolutely. And some of the people, they've got working for them within Serco. They got dames in there. They got people with high knocking power, mate, who have got close connections. They've got civil servants in there, high knocking civil servants who've actually retired and then gone as board of directors for Serco. It's unbelievable, mate. I'll show you now. I'll show you Serco. All right, Serco. So here we go. Serco Group. All right. PLC. David is a lawyer, I believe. But Eric Bourne, all right, is a CEO for Swissport. You know who Swissport are, don't you?
No.
Swissport are a big freight forwarder and stuff like that with airlines.
Yeah.
So he's the CEO. But where is my friend? Dame Susan Owen. She might be a relative of mine because I've got the Owens in my family tree. Might have to have a look and then see if she wants to help her cousin. But can you see this, Craig? Oh, she's from Cardiff, down that way. So but former British civil servant, economist, and former academy. She served as the permanent secretary for Department of Digital Culture, Media, Sports until her retirement March 2019. That's the type of power they've got, mate. That's the type of the knocking power they've got, man.
So they've got
the
senior
people
civil servants in there, and that's going to be rather incestuous, isn't it?
It's unbelievable, mate. When you look at it. So that's why people are not getting their complaints. And have you spoke to anybody this week? Have you spoke to Lee?
Lee, yes. I haven't had a chat. Go on. He's got an email. He sent me his letter tonight. I haven't had the chance to read it yet.
Okay, so he's still being hounded then, is he?
Yeah, I mean it's I haven't had the chance to read it through properly yet. I'll forward it to you.
Yeah, forward it to me. I've had a lot of people reach out this week. I'm going to touch base with a few of them, bring and get you to talk to them as well. And the people who have been fighting with CSA, CMS, and people who are going through the family courts at the moment. So I'm going to reach out to a few and have a chat with them. I've got a friend who knows the system inside out, so he emailed me, so I'm going to have a chat with him. But it's been interesting, actually. I tell you, I have been talking to is Ian Briggs.
Oh, how's he getting on?
He's doing all right. He's doing all right. Chipping away, all right. And he's still trying to get answers, and they're still closing the doors on it. Closing ranks. Even though he lost his son, all right, and me and you would say CMS were the underlying cause for that.
Without a doubt.
And that's without a doubt, and anybody who didn't see the video with Ian Briggs, they need to go and have a look at it. So we've had a chat. I've reached out to a couple of law firms. Mate, nobody wants to touch it.
No, they don't.
But now I understand. Because if Serco are so entrenched, then law firms are not going to go and touch it.
Yeah.
It's quite sad. But who's the law firm who represented you?
I can't get any representation, mate.
No, but who's that one you mentioned?
Which
is it McKinsey?
Dan Milliken.
What is it?
Dan Milliken?
I don't know. You mentioned he said he'd been to somebody and he made a phone call and they said they couldn't help him and you went, oh, they represented me and you said they were a bag of shit.
Durham Legal Services.
Durham Legal Services, is it? Well,
I think they're a stakeholder of the CMS.
Well, they reached out and left a message, but never left a number for him. They reached out to him because they didn't like what we said. So, but like you said, law firms are not interested. And I tell you what, this is a shout out to law firms. If you get to see this, then, step up to the mark.
This is a breach of Article 13 of the European Convention of Human Rights.
Yeah, so but that's where we are, bully boy. That's where we are. We know forward far. We know further forward at this moment in time. We just got to keep chipping away. You know, I'm doing a few things. I'm putting a letter together at the moment because, you know, something's got to happen because it's just getting worse. But I'm just shocked with Circle, really, and what I'm finding with Capita and Circle, and the videos I'm being sent, and people are sending me things, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, and I just feel there's a monopoly going on, and our governments now are corporate. They're just puppets for corporate organisations.
It would seem so. Or they've got huge financial interest in it. They're getting backhanders and stuff.
But let's look at Tony Blair. I know you don't like. I know you don't like the two words I've just said. All right, and a lot of us don't. But let's look at Tony Blair, mate. Multi-millionaire now, mate. He's got mines in. He's got interests in Sierra Leone. All right. He's got interests all over, and you can't tell me as a prime minister you're going to make millions and millions. But he seemed to put a lot of money away. You know, this question's got to be asked, mate. People going into government and they seem to make the Kinnocks, Neil Kinnock and his wife, the Kinnock family. Yeah, the Kinnock family. My mother knew him, and she said they were school teachers. They didn't have a pot. They didn't have a pot to piss in. Today they're millionaires, mate.
Do you know something? Parliament is nothing but a brothel.
Bro,
it is. It's a brothel. Rotten to the core with corruption.
I tell you what, it's mate.
Absolutely disgusting.
So, are you in lockdown, man? Are you in tier 3 up there?
I don't know, mate. Don't watch the news.
No, mate. I only listen to his background noise, mate. You know, and I tell you, there's so much crap on that TV, mate.
It is. It's all propaganda, all bullshit. And the scary thing is, there's lots of people believe it as well.
That's the biggest thing. And it doesn't get us anywhere. You know, it's just propaganda. Well, how much propaganda have we seen in the past? And people just need to sit back and see what's really going on. You know, this CMS thing, mate, it's opened my eyes. Absolutely massively. You know, people are committing suicide, people are taking their own lives. And they say it's for the child's interest, that charter. You know, we'll treat you this way, that way, and we'll treat you with respect. And no, they haven't. You know, and it's unbelievable. And the other, I tell you another thing I was interested in when I was doing a little bit of research on Circle. Because I've had their annual accounts up as well, mate, which is...
Sorry?
I've had their annual accounts up as well.
Go on.
Been going, yeah, but I'm still playing with their annual accounts. But when I look at, I'm just going to put something in, child maintenance services. All right, this is unbelievable. Child maintenance services. When you put it in, that's no problem at all. But when you say complaints, not complaints. I wouldn't mind get a job with them, actually. I tell you what, I wouldn't mind reviews. Have you seen some of the reviews you get on you?
On Google about?
On Indeed and stuff like that, on Google Indeed. Good work experience. I learned a lot working with the agency. They gave me training to help support young vulnerable children with breakdown in families. And not only that, help families build for their children. Very caring company to work for, and very, very rewarding by helping others, opportunities of promotion. But that's what I put in. I tell you what I put in. I put in Circle. I put in Circle, child Circle. Circle child maintenance service jobs. Oh, look. Support worker, bank, maintenance workers together for children. So they're still recruiting, but I think we'll have to get on there. But indeed, you know, you can have a look at some of these reviews, mate, and they're unbelievable. The reviews I've been seeing, unbelievable. Serious place to work. Being a contractor, I found working here a very serious place to work, where lunch and attendance was monitored. Launch and is great detail. Location was great, right next to Mary Hill. Worked as a caseworker and enjoyed the working on cases. I was never short of work. And it is here when I started to gain interest in working on projects. Whilst at the Children's Support Agency, I have gained some excellent communication skills, learned to adapt to the times difficult situations with customers, also gained a good knowledge of different government procedures and policies, as well as learning a range of skills regarding data protection and security. Ready for it? Serco, as an outsourcing company, we're a good company to work for. Their core policies are excellent, enabling me to have good work-life balance whilst in this role. And the role was Child Support Agency caseworker.
Oh.
By the way, that was 2017. So it weren't Child Support Agency. It was Child Maintenance Services.
Yeah.
Very stressful job, but I gained a lot from it. I made some new friends, and it's always a bonus when you have to work with new people daily. I really enjoyed the job and was sad to leave. Great place to work, fantastic colleagues. Mate, sounds like a brilliant job. Which I tell you what, I wouldn't mind getting a job with them actually.
I would not work for those people at all.
No, just to have a look at insight to it, mate.
It's highly unlikely that they're ever going to employ me, is it?
They wouldn't employ me either, probably not.
Yeah.
You know,
Same
but it
as
just
the
shows
bogeyman.
again. But that just shows that the caseworkers are outsourced to external companies.
Yeah.
Government child maintenance group, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
All right. So.
Wow.
So that's why.
Eyes,
So that's why people are making phone calls, but you don't know who you got on the other end of the phone. And they could be just briefed on, just get the money.
That's it. They don't care. That's it. They do not care. They're not interested in the state of the person, the mental health of the person. They just go and they're like pious loan sharks, mate. They're disgusting. They're beyond disgusting. The maggots.
Last week we actually called them. They called them experts. CMS called them experts in the document. They're not experts, mate.
Experts are fraud.
Exactly. So so that's where we are, Bud Bach. So I've had an interesting week this week. I've been to the gym. I've done a bit of flexing. Bit of swimming. Why are you smiling like that for, Bud? Tell him. It'd be a stage boy. I bet you're pounding the pounds on, innit? With that red wine you're drinking.
All the red wine.
And the port and the cheese. Tell him.
Damn good for gout.
So what are we going to do? What we got coming up now, Bud? What we got coming up?
Well, tomorrow we've got Noel, haven't we?
Okay, yeah, that's gonna be an interesting. Oh man, he's gonna be right on him with Circle.
He is. That's his baby.
That's a definite. That is, isn't it?
He's gonna get a hard on.
Yeah, man. I tell you what, with Circle, definitely, he loves it.
God. He does. And next week we've got Lottie.
Who we got?
Charlotte Wood.
Okay, yeah. That's good to see a woman on there because we do need a woman.
We do indeed.
Definitely. I'll give you that, Bully. You've done quite well there. Who else we got coming on next week?
Oh God, I think Mark might be coming on.
Should we bring on see if we can bring on Ian and Lee just for an update?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
What's that? Hey, what's happened to Breeze? What's going on with Breeze Media and Henry?
Henry, I don't know. He's waiting for Anna to upload the interview with Diana Scriven. That's Timothy Crawley's partner.
What about our interview with Fireman Sam?
Oh, it's up there.
Is it? Oh, well done, Henry.
Is
Henry
it?
the Uber. Henry the
I
Uber.
don't
I'm going to call him from now on.
I,
Because he
I don't know.
Ubers everything.
I don't know if he has posted up there yet.
Okay.
John's got to be very, very careful with what.
Anyway, should we share this video? Who's this gentleman in this video? Do you know
Go on.
this video you sent me? Who is it?
I don't know.
Right, I'm just going to let it run for a few minutes so people
Okay.
can get a flavour of what we're on about the circle. And this will get an old happy.
Company called Serco. Has anybody heard of Serco?
Yeah.
The Serpent Company. Right, now before I tell you about Serco, this is how it works. The law changed 2 weeks ago. If you are asked to isolate for any reason, you do not need a test. You do not need symptoms. You can get a little notification on your phone saying stay at home, and you can get £1,000 fine. And if you break the rules, you get up to a £10,000 fine. This is administered by Serco. Okay? Who are Serco? Here we go. Bear with me, I've made some extensive notes.
Go on, Lance.
Right, Serco are the multinational company that employ more people than British Armed Services, 125,000 people. They've got 40 subsidiary companies across the globe. They are the largest outsourcing company in the world, and they win 70% of the contracts they bid for. They turn over £5 billion a year. Here's a short look into what they do. They cover waste disposal all over the UK, transport, half of London's traffic lights, all of Dublin's. Ontario, Canada, they issue your driving licence. In New Zealand, trains, ferries, all across the UK too. In Australia, they have a presence on every single military base. That's just in Australia. Serco are contracted to run the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA. Does anybody know what FEMA is? They administer and run 2 whole FEMA camps worth $600 million. 17 states they run FEMA. Sorry. Immigration detention centres across the UK, Australia and New Zealand. Air traffic control across the whole world. Public transport in the West and in the Middle East is dominated by Serco. That means the ANPR cameras. That means the facial recognition cameras. They run, own and maintain all of that infrastructure. They are contracted for the DWP call centres. They're the largest operator of private prisons in the UK. Who knew it's not just the US that has private for-profit prisons? They're in the UK too, and they're run by guess who? Serco, the Serco company. They run every single state school in Bradford between 2001 and 2011. In that decade, kid me not, was that not the decade when the grooming, industrialised raping of young girls was its most prevalent in the North East? They ran all of the schools in Bradford. Political persuasions aside, that happened, and they were in charge of every school in Bradford. Along with G4S, they are the largest contractor for services for vulnerable children. They run the infrastructure of the Child Protection Services. They run the UK ballistic missile system and our entire nuclear arsenal. They run 3 UK naval bases. Serco are contracted to administer many UK hospitals. The entire NHS blood bank is run by Serco. Does anybody starting to get an idea of how huge this multinational conglomerate company is? It is the octopus. It is the snake. It is the spider at the centre of the web. Serco are contracted for our high defence Skynet, i.e. Terminator 2. Skynet satellite system. Serco run that. They also run and administer the US Patent Office. They issue every patent in the US. Serco have been involved in scandals in every one of these areas. They were fined £22 million. They run the ankle tagging for prisoners. So all the prisoners in the UK that have got an ankle tag on, that's Serco. £22 million fine for charging the government for dead prisoners. Who knows about that scandal with Nigel Farage's trial? What do you think about Nigel Farage at the window? That scandal of those immigrants that have been picked up in the channel and be put into hotels. Guess who's doing that? Serco. They run every single immigration centre. Guess what they also run? All of the high-speed rescue boats for the Border Force. Every single one of them is issued, serviced and ran by Serco. They're on commission to pick up every immigrant. They get £900 a pop to put them in their own immigration centres. And if they're full, guess where they go? In the 4-star hotels. Serco pick up the bill, and they probably double it, or they give it to the government, and we have to pay for it.
Wow. Holy shit.
Yeah, £900 a pop for each asylum seeker. A very infamous asylum detention centre in Yarl's Wood is run by Serco, and it's infamous for sexual abuse and prostitution rings. They lost lots of contracts for malpractice. In August, they got £108 million to run test and trace. And for the first few months, everyone was just sat around watching Netflix. They had contacted an average of 2 people each. £108 million we spent on that. So, who owns Serco? Serco is owned by CCL, the Crown Corporation Limited. Who owns the Crown Corporation Limited? The Crown Estate. Who owns the Crown Estate? The Crown. It's owned by the Crown. Corona means crown. Did anybody know that?
Yeah.
Corona is a crown virus. It's the virus of your highness. Okay. CCL and the Privy Council have the golden share in Serco, based in Hook in the southwest. There are 2 other companies I'm going to expose. They're all in the southwest too. Who's heard of Kinetic with a Q? Who's driven out past Berwyn, seen that big sign? Kinetic are the cyber defence and military wing of Serco. They are also owned by the Crown. They are the same institute. Serco have an $8 billion US defence contract, and Kinetic have a $9 billion US defence contract. There is also another institution of this unholy trio. Who's heard of the Pirbright Institute? The Pirbright Institute in Surrey was responsible for foot and mouth. They also work at Porton Down. It was started by Sir Lord Pirbright, Edward the Worm Rothschild, linked with Cecil Rhodes and the Round Table and the Pilgrim Society. Does anybody know who those people are? Starting to paint a picture, guys, yeah? It's not just a private company. Pirbright Institute owns 200-acre site with Kinetic, with a satellite defence system and an underground base. Now, Pirbright have the patent to a coronavirus. Who knows how many patents for coronavirus? It's in between 60 and 70. The various different strains, there are 60 to 70 patents. Pirbright has the main patent on coronavirus. Guess who granted the patent? Any guesses? It was Serco, because they run the patent office. Painting a picture yet, guys? Lord Pirbright Rothschild, who started the Pirbright Institute, was a spiritual mentor of Cecil Rhodes, Alfred Milner, the Pilgrim Society, DERA, which is the Defence Evaluation and Research. This is the military-industrial complex. We're talking about the military-industrial complex. They're the progenitors of MI5, MI6, and GCHQ. It all came from the Pilgrim Society and this group of institutions. Right. They also funded eugenics. Does anybody know what eugenics is? It's racial selective science. Along with the Rockefeller Foundation, the Pirbright Institute, and the Round Table Society were involved in funding Nazi experiments. After the Nuremberg trials, they continued to fund it. They also created the idea of concentration camps in the Boer War. So we have the theme of concentration camps, eugenics, vaccines, and defence companies, all involved in this unholy trio of track and trace. Enter the Gates Foundation, our great friends Bill and Melinda Gates. Does anybody know how many shares they have in Serco and their particular avenue of private prisons? 200,000 shares, worth about $20 billion. Pirbright, guess where it's got a massive office, and it works with the Viral Institute, Wuhan! Surprise, surprise. Now, although Serco is owned by the Crown and the Golden Share, does anybody know who the CEO of Serco is? Sir Rupert Soames. With his brother Sir Nicholas Soames, does anybody know who their grandfather is? Winston Churchill. 5 points for the man over there. Nicholas Soames, Rupert's brother, is best friends, literally best friends, famously with Mr. Prince Charles, Mr. Captain Reset. And, we all know. Famously, Nicholas Soames warned Princess Diana 6 months before her death to stop investigating landmines. Do you know why? Because he's the CEO of Aegis, one of the biggest military industrial contractors, which is also involved in landmines. In Australia, they have a sorry, I'm skipping that. Okay, so, right, I'm now going to go down a bit of a further rabbit hole. Nicholas Soames is best friends with Prince Charles, so by default, guess who he's pictured with many times and also good friends with? Jimmy Savile.
Oh, God.
His brother Rupert Soames, the CEO of Serco. Guess whose flight log he's on with his wife Millie? Jeffrey Epstein is intrinsically linked with some of these military-industrial complexes through Lockheed Martin. Okay, so this little island of debauchery is actually linked intrinsically with the military-industrial program, with defence contractors. It gets so deep, even I was totally blown away by what I found over last weekend. So basically, the man that is the CEO of Serco, owned by the Crown, is going to administer a system that when you sign your permissions to the app, now, you know, when we have apps, everyone is so scared about the permissions for Snapchat. Oh my God, what's it going to do? What's his flashlight going to do? Can you imagine when you press I accept on the test and trace app that comes from Serco, the biggest military industrial contractor in the world? Can you imagine what the small print says in that app? I can tell you now that it is I've seen the research, it's the biggest backdoor into your phone that you can imagine. That's one thing. You're also entering into a contract where you can get a notification at any time for any reason because you've been near to someone that allegedly had a test that's totally inaccurate for coronavirus, and you have to go home right now and you get £1,000 fine. Who's going to be administering it? Serco, the people that administer the alcohol tax for prisoners, the people that administer mobile prisons, nuclear defence, blood banks. Is this the kind of people that we want to be entering a contract into? And they're going to be able to say to us and dictate to us what we can and can't do. Does anybody want to enter into that contract?
No.
Has a single person here downloaded that track and trace app?
No.
Good. I've got some bad news for you. I've got lots of people that contact me from various different sources, different places. I was contacted last week by a young lad who has not downloaded the app. He showed me a screenshot of his Google settings. He's got COVID-19 turned off and he's still got a notification. It knew his name. And he said, you've been near an infected person, you have to isolate. And I informed him that's a risk of £1,000 fine. He said he'd leave his phone at home. Has anyone researched the Chinese credit system? Has anybody researched what's happening in the Xinjiang province in Western China? They're using a social credit system linked in with the COVID-19 app that uses a QR code that is red, yellow or green. Maybe, no or yes, which dictates your entire life. That's now been integrated with the Chinese credit system, and in one province it's used to decide who goes to the internment camps, or the re-education camps as they're called. The BBC admits they have 1 million Uyghur Muslims in concentration camps that are put there digitally. Now, in Xinjiang, they're not allowed Facebook, so you don't have photos uploaded, and it's not tagged. We do this willingly. We willingly give our facial recognition details to the beast. In Xinjiang, if you don't comply, they strap you down to a board.
So, as you can see, but and there's a lot of that. I'd ask questions. A lot of it I've looked at, and it's all making sense. But you know, there is other organisations as well. Sodexo. There's other organisations facilitating this track and trace as well. Deloitte is the biggest one, who working as auditors at PwC. So, but they're all corporates. And they're all multi-billion-pound corporates, man. But you know what my biggest concern is? Are you there, Craig?
I'm here, mate. I'm listening.
You know, the competitions market, all right? Man, it's huge when you think about it. And it's a monopoly. And we got laws to stop monopolies taking over. And they've taken over. Corporations have taken over, I believe. And even if 40% of that guy's stuff is accurate, which is more than that, I know it is because I've already looked at it. It really makes you think of what's going on, mate. Because today, data's king. I can tell you now, data's king, mate. All right. And when I was in the Middle East, I learned how the world worked. It's shocking, mate. Shocking to say the least, but let me tell you. Some things in there he said, and I was like, yeah, okay. Do you know the biggest thing? I work for a Pakistani company. Oh, I represent the Pakistani company at board level while I was in the Middle East. And do you know what? Do you know where we were making most of our money?
No.
Afghanistan. Supplying military products. We were, mate, they were making more money. They were making 10, 30 times what something was worth when they were selling it to the government. Telling, mate, it's huge. When you work with the government, it's an open checkbook, but
That's our money. Not the government's.
it
Our
is
money.
it is the taxpayers' money, but the taxpayers haven't got a clue, mate, what's really going on. And you got multi-billion-pound companies, and that's why we've got so much debt in the world, mate. Money makes money. I used to get told in Dubai by some very influential people, Clive, money makes money. Money's king. Let me tell you, mate.
Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable, mate. And think about it. You know, Facebook, they're not willing to allow Facebook to have a digital currency, because what they're saying is if Facebook has a digital currency, it's got 2.4 billion members on Facebook, and it's worried that it will just take over like that, and it will get rid of currencies altogether, and they'll have too much power. But how much power have Circle and them and these corporations already got?
It's frightening. It really is frightening.
Mate. It is frightening, you know. So that's all I want to share with you tonight, boy. Bach. You sound quiet. What's going on?
No, I'm just shocked at you know, Circa the cancer. It's unbelievable.
There's no surprise, but corporates. I've worked with the corporates.
You know, the disturbing thing is, it's the MPs who've allowed this to happen, and are allowing it to happen.
Yeah,
and
because
to continue to happen.
it's not
And
just
they're there to uphold the Constitution.
But it's not just that, Craigie. It's civil servants in the back, mate. Because don't forget, we elect MPs every 4 years. Don't forget who we don't change. We don't change the civil servants, mate. The special advisors.
Yeah.
So they're embedded already. They're like it's like an oak tree. They're there, mate, and they're there for years. So the MPs and people like that in government are just front puppets for them people who are embedded. And then people who are embedded are only interested in one thing, mate. And I can tell you because I've been there. Spondoolies. I've sat with people, mate. I've made deals with people, and that's what I've done in the Middle East, but let me tell you. So that's all I want to share with you tonight, Craigie boy.
Well, that was most certainly an eye-opener, and thank you for doing all that research. It's beyond belief.
I'd like to get, and that's only half a day's research. I'd like to get the guy who done his research on there, because I'd love to get into it, but there's things you gotta sit out on. Anyway, but video tomorrow, all right? So goodbye from me.
And good night from me.
I'll see you tomorrow.
But it's not